Okay, hey everyone. Welcome back. This is session 10 of Godkiller by Connie Chang. My name is Dunna. My pronouns are he, him. I'm running the game. Mads, why don't you introduce us to you and your Godkiller and catch us up a little bit on last week?
Yeah, so I'm Mads, she, they pronouns. I'm playing Wall, also she, they pronouns. And um, a lot happened last week for sure. The main thing that I do remember, I mean, I'm trying to also read notes, which is incredibly hard because, yeah. Anyway, um, so Wall was looking for guidance to try and figure out how to take out Orphanmaker because that's going to be a big thing. Um, and she got guidance in the most unexpected way possible, but probably also expected, which was the return of Dogtooth, which is hilarious and fun. And then, of course, she um, gave a little show of her feelings to Tiresias before he left to return back on his route for trading. Um, and then she was told by the wizards that she needed to get a weapon. They would do their best, or they would do the summoning to bring Orphanmaker to a location that, you know, could take him out, um, uh, one on one. And but she was responsible for trying to get the weapon in question, and somehow, even though they're trying to kill a bunch of gods, she found out that if a god is useful, then they'll make allowances. So she was able to go visit Vulcan and have Vulcan create a weapon, create a spear for her to use against Orphanmaker themselves. And we'll see how that's going to go. And Dogtooth insinuated some kind of tenuous connection to Orphanmaker and their origins, but we'll see if that's going to help. I don't know. So, I think I covered everything.
I mean, not much went on last week, obviously. Just the usual.
Just the usual.
Yeah, so I think we kind of cut to all standing on the floor of this crater, this gigantic um, volcanic bowl, the edge of which the city of Towers stands upon, holding this newly crafted spear aloft. And yeah, I think on one side uh, of this crater we have the assembled wizards standing on the precipice above you, and you can hear their chanting on the wind. And I think as we saw on the opposite side, Orphanmaker appear at the top of the stairway, glaring down at you. Um, and yeah, like coming down these stairs in a way that I'm not sure if you're completely aware of how much control they have over their actions. Are they being compelled down these stairs by this rite that the wizards are undertaking? How do you feel looking at this god, um, almost at the beck and call, or as if on marionette strings?
Did we establish that the vision that I had received was while understanding that that was Orphanmaker's beginnings? Orphanmaker was human once?
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think um it would certainly be very odd if it weren't, right?
Right,
But
right,
from
right.
a though maybe for Wall, um there's something at this moment that brings that home for her, you know.
Yeah. I think it's in the way that Orphanmaker is walking down these steps. Like one foot or one limb in front of the other and just making their way, and I think their eyes, it's almost like she can see behind the eyes of the helmet, and then hearing that terror and pain and grief in her vision, and remembering that, and just knowing what that feels like, but she doesn't understand why. Again, it's the feeling in the gut and her center that she doesn't understand why she has this understanding, this feeling of yes, you were born out of pain and the grief, but I also understand that. And she just kind of like shakes her head to herself and just, why do I understand that? And she's holding on to the spear, which of course is, freshly made and probably still has the heat, like, coming off of it in waves, and that's like it's almost burning her hand, but she also feels it against her skin, which, you know, while the heat of the crater and the volcano seems to be emanating, and of course, like, Vulcan's forge, it's it's around her too. She knows it's there. She feels the heat, but it's not frying her to a crisp as expected as it would. And how far before Orphanmaker stops?
So I think Orphan Maker kind of regains control of his steps when he hits the crater floor. And I think at that moment the chanting stops from above you. But I think this was this was where they summoned him.
Right.
And his movements become much more, what you recognize, kind of smooth and dangerous. And yeah, he kind of nods at you from across the crater and starts walking.
I think she will bring the spear to, kind of slap into her other hand, so this way she's holding it with both both hands, and kind of like, in defensive posture. And then she thinks about it. And then she reaches into her satchel, and then she will put on the horse helmet.
And there's like a stutter in Orphan Maker's step, but hard to know exactly what impact you have on him apart from that. How does it feel to be wearing this ancient helmet, in Orphan Maker's presence?
Heavy. heavy, stifling. But I mean, she feels like it's molding to her head, I think. Like it's meant to be there.
Now, I wonder if this is what you imagine, but after you start move, maybe you shift in your stance or whatever, you get a sense that it's also morphing you to its shape and its purpose.
Can she can she see I don't know if she can see this far, but can she see a reflection in Orphan Maker's eyes about what she looks like when she feels like she's changing?
Um, yeah, or maybe you get a sense of it initially from the spear, right?
Mm.
This, burnished, shiny, fresh metal
Ah, okay.
shows you um shows you the head, and it feel like from your internal sense of self, it feels like it has shrunk, but it doesn't look that much smaller in the reflection. Um, and it also looks like the markings you see in the reflection match the markings from your heritage. And also you kind of get this sense on the spear that whatever Vulcan has forged on it are the very same.
I think as she's like, got it in both hands and then she's actually like hefting it like, like how some people do that turn where they kind of like heft the weapon. I think she changes her stance because she feels the change and then she shifts so instead of being like meekly defensive, like if you didn't know how to use it,
Mhm.
she starts to feel like she knows this. She knows this weapon. She knows what to do, and then she shifts so she's on the balls of her feet, and then she will turn it so this way the spear is like anchored at her side with her backhand, like giving it support, and then like she's aiming the spear towards Orphan Maker.
So Orphanmaker draws a weapon or, reveals one from behind his back. What do you think it is? Like something that shows his cruel nature or something very ordinary? What do you think?
I think it is. I think it's. If it's not a spear itself, then it's something very similar, like a kind of like those axe spades kind of thing, like where it's like it's shaped a shaped sharp blade at the end of it. But I think what's very different about it is there are symbols going down the shaft as well as into the blade, and it's almost like looking at like those family trees, but like in miniature, and each of the family trees has like the top part cut off, like leads to a child, but then like the top part, the parents part is crossed off.
Do you think these are just kind of emblemic, or do you think these are actual, you know, kill markings or something like that?
I feel like it's these are marks all through the years, all through the centuries of trees being their tops being cut off.
So when Orphanmaker gets to within, you know, engagement distance, let's say, what do you do?
She asks a question, but she doesn't break her stance. So from underneath the helmet she says, "Is this who you really are? Is this how you want to face me?"
You say that like I had a choice, but no, you have summoned me here with bloodshed on your mind. Hmm.
This is to answer to all of the bloodshed that you have cast through your minions, your armies, down the scope of time. I can only have you try and answer for those in my present. And as she's saying that, she's like, there's like a visible shudder, because she's not just speaking of the towns that have already been taken by the Wolf's Head. She feels like she's talking about something else.
You think you are challenging someone dangerous?
Yes. I don't know if it's like how public it is, but I mean,
I mean, I think if you can hear the wizards chanting, they can hear you, right?
that's true. That's true.
So,
I mean, I'm sure that the helmet, even though like it, because of its nature, probably is actually amplifying what
mhm.
she's saying. Okay. Challenge someone dangerous in front of an audience. Say what foolish or risky action you'll hope they'll take, and roll 2d6. Oh boy. I'm hoping that they'll try to do something to what's the word? Um, Not distract, but like kind of like throw her off her game. Basically, like they'll throw off their helmet and appear as somebody that she doesn't want to see, or somebody that she may not have remembered until then, right? Um, and then roll 2d6. Okay, add one for each true statement. They care about your opinion. I don't know. Do they care?
um, I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Okay. They think they're stronger than you. I'm pretty sure that Orphanmaker thinks they're
Of
pretty
course they
powerful.
do.
Yeah, yeah. And the crowd is on my side. I'm hoping
Uh,
so.
for this night only, I guess. You know,
Yes, for this style. Thanks. Yep,
so
absolutely.
+2. Yeah.
Okay. Oh boy. And I'm using my crystal dice, so this should be interesting. Oh boy. And that is oh, wait a minute. Okay. So that's 3 plus 3 plus 2. Okay, 8. Not too bad. I'm
Okay.
starting to freak out for a second.
So
8. Target
yeah.
rises to the bait. Okay.
So yeah, I think the the axe blade lowers a little bit, and Orphanmaker, lightly beats the point of your spear aside, as if in as if dismissing the challenge. Mm. And a hand reaches underneath this mask, and it lifts off uh, his face, and you see almost nothing. It's like an absence of anything there. There's just these two kind of pinpricks of light where Orphanmaker's eyes are. And this is the nightmare. This is what everyone told you could not be named in your nightmares when you were younger.
And again, I think that, like, hits her to the core, where it feels like a visible, like, punch to her inside. And it's like she starts to pant because it is like, a primordial, that atavistic fear, just something a horror from childhood. But then I also think that from childhood, and then remembering the cries of Orphanmaker as a human child, I think, that kind of brings tears to her eyes, but not because of pain or anything. It's more of like just sorrow, because she's trying to reconcile this unfeeling monster with what she saw in her vision. She's trying hard not to let that, you know, um, stop her from doing what needs to be done if, you know, needs
Hmm.
be.
I think on Orphanmaker's fingertips, where like he pushed it up underneath the mask, you can see this, viscous like darkness just start to move up the fingers. And for some strange reason, you kind of feel it in your hand as well.
In the same hand that's been feeling pins and needles.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Godkiller, why don't you embrace your heritage? Join me, and we will get rid of these wizards. That's what you want, isn't it? Give your people a home free of strife.
She keeps her she keeps her helmet on. One question. Are you the reason I'm not in my original home? Did you take my parents away?
Sure, you know the answer to that question.
Yeah. And that's where she's like, the hand with the prickles is pretty much like, being antsy at the back of the spear, and just kind of like, flexing. And then she will be, all right, so let's see. I'm trying to think if this is the tempt fate move, or if this is like going for the going for the kill a god, because she's going to use the spear But as she's using the spear, she's going to say, "Then I forgive you." And yeah, whichever one you want me to roll on.
Why do you think this is tempting fate? Do you think it's giving Orphanmaker an opening,
Yeah, because
or
like, she's going to she's going to basically do it where she's just going to call upon like what she remembers or what
Mhm.
she feels from her heritage, and like she knows how to use the spear, right? So I mean, like, all it is like, just a quick like arm swing, so this way all she has to do is like, swing it up and then punch through right to Orphan Maker, but also it's kill a god because I mean she's utilizing her down the Orphan Maker's downfall with the forgiveness.
but you want to get like a sense of satisfaction right be-
Mm-hmm.
before it? Okay.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, why don't we tempt fate?
Okay.
Um, so
Well, maybe not,
skill.
because I only get one bonus. Skilled allies lending you a hand. I mean, I got Vulcan Spear, but I don't know if we count that. I have no other options. I mean, it's just me, like, weapon to weapon against Orphan Maker, so I feel like I got that one. And you're far from any god that wishes you harm. Well, no.
But in terms of having other options, like you could just go for the kill, right? You
I
don't have to
could.
get this kind of moral. This is about moral superiority almost, right?
Yeah, yeah,
This is about making him aware of his impending doom.
yeah, that's true.
Uh, so I don't know. I, kind of see it as like you're not getting any of these. This is almost
Okay.
like a side of the wall we haven't seen before.
Mm-hmm.
Like, does that sound okay to you?
So, is this just me, like, inflicting violence, or am I, like, doing one of the
No,
crucible
no, I
moves?
think tempting fate is seeing whether you like you do really kind of inflict this um emotional blow on him before you like kill him.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah. I mean, if you feel like you don't want to take this move now and you just want to go straight to kill a god, maybe that's fine also.
I mean, fate spare you for now. Attract the attention of your enemies. I mean, like, there's a few things that you could probably do. So, I
Yeah.
mean, what do you feel is most appropriate in this moment? I'm okay with either.
Um, I mean, I think it is like this is not just another god that Wall is trying to kill. This is much more personal to
Yeah,
them.
yeah.
So it makes sense that you would like go for this like um to the pain kind of move.
Yes, yes. Sure. Okay.
Um,
I'm fine with that.
okay. Uh, I mean, just
Okay.
roll a 7 to 9 and you'll be fine, right?
Sure. Yeah, everything will be great. It'll be fine. Okay. You know what? Let's give the dark die for funsies' sake. Oh, wow. Okay. So that is an 8 still. 3 plus 4 plus 1.
There you go. You see. Uh,
On a hit 7 to 9, you get through it mostly unscathed. The fates spare you for now.
um, yeah. So I think like he takes a step back and almost kind of there's like a sense of panic, right? There's a sense of um him scrabbling to put back on his mask. But there's now, like when he raises it, there's a crack down it. And I think you can feel your mask kind of imbue you with strength now. This kind of this sense of power has like passed from Orphanmaker's mask to the one you are wearing.
I think, like, she presses her advantage and says, like, as takes a step back and parries, like, her first uh, uh, blow or whatever, then she continues to do the, like, hello, I'm Inigo Montoya, you killed my father kind of thing going on, where she advances and, like, works the spear to parry anything that they try to do out of the way. And she says, I saw your tears. I share them too, but I forgive you for taking them away because I would not have been able to do or see or meet all the things, all the people that I have without that. I forgive you. So every move, every blow, every stab that she tries to make is like punctuated by one of those
Hmm.
phrases as she advances. And yeah.
Hey. So yeah, I think you force him back like all the way to the bottom step of the stairway. And he somewhere in between the collapse and just like a defeated sit down on that bottom step. Um, and he drops his axe. And it's through the crack, maybe through both eye holes in this mask, you can see this kind of void oozing out. I mean, it can't be tears, right? There's no way in hell it's tears.
But does she get a sense that there's something more human behind the helmet at this point?
Yeah, I mean, when I say there's no way those are tears, maybe it's the your mask talking. It's a trick. You should finish him now before he can return.
Hmm. Before she does, I will slay you where you stand. Like, maybe if she lifts up the helmet just a little bit, but I will slay you where you stand. Call off your wolf's head. Stop your forces.
You see them here. That arrow has been shot and cannot be recalled.
And then she kind of just like blows out her her frustration and just says, "Fine. They will just no longer have a god to worship." And so she kills a god. Hopefully. Woo!
So describe how you slay them
Yeah, I
and
think, I mean,
roll.
like, yeah, I think yeah, she pretty much like, has Orphanmaker at the standstill, and like the cracked helmet leaking, and her own helmet like, just kind of egging her on, and she will take that final stab up and out, like, going into the weeping void, and you know, taking off their ethereal head. I don't know. Something wonderfully like, cosmic and viscous. It's all right.
Hmm?
Whatever. Okay. Okay. So that is a 7. 4 plus 3. 7 to 9. They see something vital from you as well. Name what vital part of yourself you lose. Oh, crap. Oh, no. Ugh. I think I don't want to necessarily do this, but I mean, I think it would be appropriate. I think as their essence, dissipates or is torn away, I think also wearing the helmet will also, you know, in its um, oh god, empathetic resonance maybe. I think it's starting to take away the memory, what little memory she has left of her people maybe. Like whatever like lingering memory she has of her parents, a touch, a whisper, a song maybe. Um yeah, I think that's it. They take the one song that she thought she remembered, and she can feel it going away, and she's clutching at air, like, she's like, no, and then she's like trying to clutch at it, and trying to, you know fut- futilely stab at the dissipating essence of
Yeah.
Orphanmaker.
I think as like the spear like rips through him and decapitates him, like he is in the middle. Well, he says farewell, orphan, to you, and the decapitation. You don't know whether that was it or whether he was giving you a new epithet,
Right.
but all you hear is farewell, orphan.
And I think this is where, again, like if her helmet is experiencing any empathy, like, you know, empathetic resonance or something like that, maybe it's full of cracks now as well, and so she kind of like tosses it off as she's trying to clutch at, you know, the disappearing entity that was Orphanmaker. Yeah.
I think that's the perfect place for a break.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, the in the aftermath, probably one thing you notice before you turn back to the city is this this void blood that is now all over your spear is absorbed, and it's like these patterns on the spearhead now have this kind of dull black echo to them. And I wonder, these are the patterns that you you kind of recognize, just you're not sure where from anymore. Do you do you think you take them as yours, or do you imagine that they are like the sign of Vulcan? Which way are you inclined to interpret them now?
I think she feels there's an emptiness there. There's something that she knows is missing. And I think she's going to take them as hers, and then, see if she can research somewhere, whether it be at the cloister or see if they have some sort of, like go back to the wizard's library and then see if she can kind of research for some of these symbols there to see
Hmm.
what they mean. But yeah, I mean, do we still see Orphanmaker's weapon, axe blade here?
Um, yeah, I
Because I mean,
don't
she would
know.
definitely offer it up to. She would definitely offer it up to Vulcan as.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, I think the remnants of a god after they're gone are very particular, but I think, the cracked mask is there and and the axe. So,
She'll offer up the axe to Vulcan, and she'll keep the cracked mask. Whether it's going to work on the wolf heads, who the hell knows? I mean, like at
hmm.
this point, she's thinking they will most likely react terribly, regardless. So
And above you see the wizards slowly start to return to the city gates. And Azrael, the head of that order, remains awaiting you.
I think she slowly makes her way up the stairs after giving the axe to Vulcan. Does he acknowledge in any way? Or he just takes it as, you know,
I mean, she looks at this exchange, well, not exchange, gift. I don't know. I think her usual kind of very unreadable self is perhaps undone by the effort involved in the ritual, and she obviously finds that gift difficult to stomach. And but that is kind of almost outshone by her actual hatred of Vulcan himself. But her attention comes back to you. I think I had to see it to believe it.
what do you believe now?
I believe that this entire world will be free of their ilk by your hand.
And I think she looks directly at Azrael. I mean, like she hasn't taken the helmet off completely. I think she's like kind of like propped it up on her head, and she's just like looking at her and saying directly in her eyes, "I I believe in life. That may include gods that help. And Wall looks down at Vulcan, at their forge. And others that have provided guidance and help to me along this way. What has hurt you so badly that you feel you need to wipe all of them, even the helpful ones, from the river?
Look at this world. Look at what they have wrought with their power. Look how they have abused the people who worship them only for their own power and benefit.
The humans will still keep coming. Orphanmaker told me that the wolf's head continues to be here, if they're not already here on your doorstep.
And we shall see how they fare without a god to lead them.
Yeah, Wall sets her jaw and just nods. Some of the pain caused in the world is not just by the gods. It's also by fellow humans as well. And
Well, I like to take care of the big problems first.
vagabond move. What aren't they telling me?
Um, I think they have already started to move on some of the other gods, maybe even Vulcan um, himself. They, Azrael certainly views you as a great ally or tool, but not the only one.
I think Wall will just kind of, again, just give her a measured look and, make her way back into the city.
So,
And
as you approach the city, the gates are closed, and there are soldiers atop the walls. And there are already a number of wizards with javelins sticking out of them, bleeding to death in the dust. What do you do?
can I tell if this is the mage eaters?
Well, this is your plucky rebels, right?
Plucky
The
rebels.
Edmund's loyalists.
Okay. Rebels have begun. Yeah, I wasn't sure whether, our battle was, like able to give off signs, of like what was happening. So, um,
So, so you see the wizards draw back and gather their power. Are you letting them? Are you going to see what they do, or do you strike?
I'm just I don't know if she would know like what they're planning on doing if they're just planning on like wiping out the rebels or like doing a defensive move. That's the only problem. Um, Shoot. Oh man, she's so stuck. She's like, oh my god, what do I do? What do I do? Uh,
Um, yeah, I don't know. Do you like?
I mean, I feel like she wants to say something, but she's not sure if she's going to be heard, especially if they're already gearing up to um to work against the rebels, right? I mean, like,
Hmm.
I mean, maybe she's trying to connect in some weird way. I mean, does she have the sense that if Azrael is convincible, then the others will stop what they're doing, or she's gonna have to act?
Um, I'm not sure you have the time to connect
Yeah,
with
I didn't think
someone.
so.
That's the problem.
Right, right. Okay, all right.
Um, I mean, I guess you could act impulsively to that would allow you to seize some advantage,
Yeah,
which might be to know what they're about to do, but that would bring with bring with it its own trouble, right?
yeah, exactly. Or wield the power and like just cross my fingers and see what happens. Oh, frick. Um, that's why I'm glad this is a game and not for real. Because I'd be like totally like, what would happen? Oh no. Um, does she have eyes on all of the wizards or just?
Yeah, I mean, there's not that many of them. I think, you know, a couple of dozen maybe.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So, if you were approaching the wall behind the mole with Azrael, yeah, I think it's um easy enough to take them all in.
Okay, alrighty. Then I think what she's going to do, because if she sees like they're gearing up to essentially what is it like amass some kind of power to affect everybody like the rebels within the killing field or whatever the heck. I mean, I think she's going to react um, with wielding gibbering pain on them to stop them, interrupt what they're doing.
Okay.
And she's going to, let's see, done the specific act before. Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
Desperate for
Yep.
this to work. I can totally mark one strain, but that puts me at 4, so I don't know how badly that's going to hurt me. And I don't think there's any. I mean, like took out Little Slaughter. I mean, unless there's somebody like around here that still worships Little Slaughter. Um,
No, no.
yeah.
Wrong
So
part of the world, I think.
exactly right.
Um,
Yeah,
So
I
that
always picture
is,
Little Slaughter being more of like in the more of the wilds, like,
yeah,
in
yeah,
rural
yeah.
areas. Yeah. Okay. So that
So
would be
plus one.
two. Oh,
Oh,
okay.
sorry, you've done it. Yeah, sorry, you've done it, and you're marking strain. Yeah, so plus
I
two.
am marking strange. Gonna just do that. The life is definitely in danger. Great. Um, yeah. I mean, I'm sure like tilting with Orphanmaker wasn't without some kind of problem. So, okay, wielding a power. Plus two. Oh, 6 plus 3 plus 2 is 11. On an
That's
overkill.
sweet overkill.
Of course. Now. Of course. Uh,
So
please tell me
yeah, yeah.
how
Oh
I
boy.
how I drain, terrify, or wreck what's around me. It'll be great. Yeah.
So I think um this gibbering pain, like you just, I mean, you're measured and you can see the magic start to build up and it's, at its height when you strike with this pain. And it's like it's too much. They can't control the magic anymore. And this, like you can see, I don't know, um, wizards just drop dead. Like you just drive this spike of pain into their brains and they just lose it and they're consumed by their magic. And I would say half of them just drop dead. And the other half probably go some kind of insane. I think there are probably only three or four who can cope, and they're like driven to their knees with, full kind of migraine levels of pain. But what you see in the distance happen is that all of the magic they wrought in their lifetime collapses. And you can see towers start to fall in the city itself. In fact, the gate that's held against them starts to crumble into dust. The great wooden and brass doors of the gate kind of are intact, and the wall falls around it, and then they just clank to the ground, freestanding. And every little magic that was helping this city to survive starts to be unraveled.
How much collapse?
Not a huge amount of the city collapses. Most of it is the towers,
Mm-hmm.
but I think Azrael like looks up from her knees, like there's blood coming out of her nose, tears streaming out of her eyes, and she like you can see the look of despair on her face, and it's not like, oh, you killed all my friends and my tower's gone. It's like much more existential than that.
Wall will see that on her face and approach Azriel and kind of like, put her fingers against her face. No, I believe in life, but we don't have to I don't have the words myself. I don't have the words, but I mean, like, she says how you don't need to lord it over others to continue it. And she starts singing a song, remembering her talk with Edmund, remembering her talk with, I think it was Miriam at the bar, um, and like the glory of the city before, when it was a kingdom and not a city of towers. And she is singing this back to life. I mean, again, if it was the gates and the towers that were built, she will use that material to create a defense. So she's going to unleash her divinity. It is obvious that she's moving all of this material and resource to where it belongs, like just a defensive gate, defensive wall, at least for that end of it, for the city itself. And especially if the other buildings were created by regular human hands and have been taken care of in their own way, at least the towers can go towards creating protection and defense for what Wall knows is coming, which is the Wolf's Head. So it is very obvious that she's doing this. Her song is ringing out throughout the city. Maybe includes some of the things that she knows is part of their culture here. The people's culture. Not the wizards, not the gods, but the people's culture. And maybe she's able to wrap around the remainder of the magics weaved in with her divinity and some of the divinity from the dying gods lost in the collapse. And she's able to weave that into a stronger defense within the protection. And yeah, it's created with magic, but also utilizing the last of what was built.
And yeah, I think how long do you think this takes? Is it like a few minutes, a few hours? What how I mean, I think it's impressive either way, but like how quickly do we see it take form?
I mean, it's not it's not quick, but I mean, like, people can see the rubble and the bricks or whatever, they've put together with the magic, like go to the places that could be built up again to protect the city, protect the people. And so they go from where the towers were standing or floating, and then they go to those outer perimeters to again protect everyone, not just be for the wizards. And so, I think as either, I can't even remember what time that we started the whole thing. I mean, if it was evening, then I think it takes through until dawn, maybe. I think dawn sees the last few bricks build up the wall around the city, but defensible,
Mhm.
defensible by people. Yeah.
So yeah, Azrael looks on and as impressed as she is when it's finished. She shakes her head and tells you it will not be enough. and she turns towards the road out of here, and she says, "Pestilence is already within these walls." And she will ravage the people as you have never imagined or seen her before.
I won't let that happen. I can't.
Well, I wish you well. There will be other things that you have freed in your arrogance, but pestilence is what I am afraid of.
Safeguard your travels, Azrael. You could have stayed to help make this a better place.
It's too late for that.
Safe travels.
Look,
And she, well, will, guess, hobble her way after all of this effort to that inn tavern, wherever it was. I think, there's definitely signs of what she's done all through her fight with Orphanmaker, unleashing her divinity to be able to build the protection around this city. Does anybody see or watch her go towards the tavern?
um, I mean, I think the place is in some kind of chaos right now. There are doubtless people who were hurt in the collapse, but more than that, it's the shock of this upheaval, this revolution. Um, not everyone was on side, not everyone was aware. I'm sure there's signs even that the loyalists are finding people who were on the wizard side and making them pay.
I think all she can do is go to the tavern and just kind of sit there, whether anybody really notices her or not at this point. I mean, she's damn tired. I think it goes around in a swirl around her. I mean, if anybody even notices, I mean, I don't think she really cares at this point. I mean, she just feels empty and tired and beaten up, especially after hearing that pestilence is here.
Yeah, and I think after a while when things seem to quieten down, the usual patronage of this place, you rushes back in, um, buoyed by their victory. And yeah, someone definitely recognizes you, um, and I don't know, they raise you up, they toast you, they exult in their newfound freedom.
I think she asks if anyone can get word to Edmund and see if he can return, if that's what they want.
They'll send a messenger in the morning.
I need I need to rest. There's the Wolf's Head already on their way. Orphanmaker's demise didn't stop it. And with a cracked voice, she also says, and supposedly pestilence, the rot, is here. And I'm just so tired. I don't know if this is something that she says to Miriam or whomever is, you know, if anyone is tending to her. I mean, she's just kind of like saying this out, out loud if nobody's like really paying
Yeah, I
attention.
mean, I think people are paying attention, but they're also not. I mean, they're hearing you, but they're not listening.
Yeah,
Um, and it's like, oh, well, those are problems for another day, and we'll destroy them too. There's nothing we can't do. A lot of this very
yeah,
heady language that is, I don't know, seems like bluster at least to you.
yeah. Well, she's remembering her own words as well. I mean, like, she told Azrael she believed in life, and yet accidentally caused collateral damage. Took out most of the wizards that weren't taken care of by the rebels, and, there were people that were hurt with the tower collapse. It's like she's always going to try, but it never seems like it's enough or it's wrong. Yeah, she's feeling a lot of things right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think she's going to head up to the roof. She's going to head up to the roof of the inn. Just try to take stock.
Yeah. So, if you think you're feeling something out or praying for guidance or
Yeah. I mean, I feel like praying for guidance. Name the age you seek and answer. I mean, where she thought she was taking care of the big problem, which was Orphanmaker, and possibly getting the wolf's head to stand down. Now she's not only got the wolf's head to deal with because they are now their own headless entity, but also now she's got to deal with pestilence somehow. And she's kind of like saying to herself, murmuring as she looks at, you know, the twilight or whatever time of day or night it is. What do I do now? What can I do? All I did was cut off one head and then add two more. I am so tired. Kind of God answers the prayers, or what unclear omens or visions besiege me? I think she's hoping, maybe, that she feels so far away from the voice of the cave right now. It's not even funny. So I think she's hoping maybe that Dogtooth is still down. I mean, At least.
And the guidance you're looking for is like, how do I get out of this? Or what do I do with
Next
this
steps, you know?
hydra of
Right, this next step of crap that's just come. She feels bruised
um
and battered and just emotionally drained. Right?
yeah, yeah. Um I guess if you're asking for Dogtooth appears, right?
Guess so.
Um but I think
Or
the
even, I
only
don't know, if doesn't have to be Dogtooth necessarily, but I mean, like, just a friendlier face.
yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
what.
Well, how many friendly faces are there in our gods? Nope, 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 nope,
Nope.
nope.
It's like, wow, really set it up for that one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, I think it's Dogtooth, but clear omens or visions. I think you see the river of stars above move like a coiling serpent, and you see two stars become very bright, like the eyes, and some kind of venom drips from the fang, and you see it land on one of the ruined towers.
She stares off at that.
There's something there, some kind of weapon or infection. And Dogtooth's voice comes from the stairwell that led to the rooftop. You really know how to make someone's life interesting. And he plonks down a goblet and fills it with some wine.
She picks it up with a shaking hand. If you mean me making my own life interesting, I think you're right. And she's saying it very tiredly, like she's not even really aware of what she's saying. She just knows that she has to concentrate to move that shaking hand, pick up the goblet, and then move it to her lips and take a sip.
So I guess I'm just gonna leave this one with you, right? As you can go into that underworld beneath the tower, but you're gonna find something there you really don't want.
I don't want or don't need.
But definitely want. Definitely want. I mean, don't want. Uh, something you need to get yourself out of this mess, but uh,
It's all about decisions. I mean, I'm not making decisions for me. I'm making decisions to try and help other people. I just I just don't want to make it so wrong that more people are going to get hurt than they already are. That sounds so ridiculous even to me. Every decision I've made seems to have hurt someone. And she takes another big sip of her wine.
I mean, this is the part where I'm supposed to tell you something comforting, right? But it's not going to happen.
Because you don't have it in you, or because you don't have anything comforting to say?
I mean, I could definitely lie to you, right?
I
But
could.
I think you've earned more than that.
So I don't want to go over there. But I need to go over there. Is what you're not saying.
If you want to save the city, you're going to need to do it.
Yeah, I thought so. I just wish I didn't feel so tired.
Or you could put your cares behind you, wrap a sandwich for breakfast, and walk out the gate. I hear that's the brave thing to do nowadays when you really don't want to face the results of your actions.
She was in mid bringing the cup to her lips when he says that, and I could. I could do that. But I feel like no matter where I go, one or the other, or both, would still find me and chase me down or be wherever I'm going to be. And I have to deal with them sooner or later.
You're right. Running from your problems is not really working out for you.
No, no, it's not. One could even say I ran the first time when I thought pestilence was going to overrun the cloister, and she didn't. And here she is. I'm glad you're here to listen to me babble.
Oh, sorry. Was I supposed to be listening to that? I tuned out halfway through. Um, Tell me again how you're going to save the world, because this is the wall I much prefer listening to. Not the, I guess there's a certain like romance to being maudlin the night before you save the world or whatever. So yeah, let's go with that. Totally listening, totally listening. Um, and pours up to the brim of your goblet again.
She, she's like, as she's just been so agog, like her jaw had dropped and just like just, and then she just doesn't say anything, keeps her mouth open, takes her goblet with two hands, and then just kind of like stares over the rim of it with both hands and just kind of like plan on going over there to that place that I need to go to and hope that whatever's there I can use against the wolf's head and pestilence, or both. That is what I'm going to do. You didn't happen to bring a bun with you, did you?
And
Do
he
you
like
even eat?
pats his jacket. No, no, no buns. No buns. Cinnamon or otherwise.
She just looks up at him after she takes that big swig and says, "Do I have time for sleep? At least a little."
Sure, sure. Just get someone to make sure they wake you up at the crack of dawn because
Not much time left.
not much time left, one way or the other. I mean, if I were you, yeah, I'd take a nap, but I always need to be convinced that naps aren't the best solution to all of life's problems. So, take that with a grain of salt.
You are very interesting.
I mean, I guess I've been promoted from incorrigible.
Oh, I was going to use that too, but
Okay, okay, okay. So, I have many strings to my bow.
and you have no problems letting fly. Okay. I will get some rest, but not too much. I
Hmm.
will head out there. And she uses the spear to help her get up, to like kind of like hand
Yeah, yes.
crawl her way up. Guess I should be glad for this then. A
We
little
shall
better than.
see.
Why do you say that?
Who knows what's going to be useful down there, right?
At the very least, I needed to help me walk.
Yeah, well, there you
Since,
go.
right,
A murderous walking stick. That's what you have.
it has more than one use. So, yeah, we can
Okay.
leave it there if you
Yeah,
want.
yeah.
Ah,
Um, yeah, I think that
how?
is good a good place to finish today. And then
Okay.
next week we can do the delve.
Yep.
So let me stop recording and then we'll do a debrief.